Most people think aging means surrendering to weakness, but the reality is that aging represents an awakening to what truly matters. What you consume before bedtime is not merely food. It becomes a powerful signal, a direct communication to your muscles telling them whether to rebuild stronger or gradually fade away. Seniors, this decision does not rest in the passage of time. It rests entirely in your hands. Choose nutrition wisely before sleep, or watch your muscles silently vanish into the night. Ancient wisdom tells us that time claims what we fail to safeguard. During youth, our bodies construct muscle effortlessly, a blessing we rarely acknowledge. However, in the advanced chapters of life, particularly for individuals entering their 60s, 70s and beyond, this blessing must be deliberately cultivated each day. There exists something countless individuals ignore, something occurring in complete silence beneath the surface, a progressive decline, not of wealth, not of memories, but of the fundamental strength that maintains our upright posture. Your muscles are disappearing. You do not notice it initially. Perhaps slightly more struggle rising from bed, a touch less energy ascending stairs. Your equilibrium begins shifting. You attribute it to natural aging, but what actually happens runs much deeper. Your muscles are quietly diminishing. This phenomenon carries a medical name, sarcopenia. However, this discussion transcends science. This concerns awareness. Sarcopenia does not arrive as a sudden intruder. It represents the gradual erosion of power you once accepted as permanent. Unless you confront it with understanding and decisive action, it will continue claiming your strength. One step, one movement, one breath at a time. Many individuals wait for pain before implementing change. But with this condition, pain does not exist. Only quiet deterioration. It does not announce its arrival. It simply enters uninvited, which makes it extraordinarily dangerous. What causes such devastating consequences? You often choose to ignore the warning signs. Ignoring muscle loss does not halt the destruction. Actually, it makes the damage irreversible. Muscle tissue represents more than physical strength. It embodies function, dignity, the ability to stand without assistance, walking without fear, lifting your grandchildren, opening containers, preparing your meals. These are not luxuries. They constitute your independence. When you lose muscle mass, you do not merely lose physical capability, you begin surrendering your freedom. However, there exists a profound message here. Your body listens constantly, every day, every night. It responds to what you provide. When you skip meals, when you accept processed foods, when you convince yourself you are too old to transform, your body receives that message and adapts accordingly. But when you supply what it requires, strength responds. Even in your 70s, even in your 80s, it remains never too late to decelerate the decline. For some individuals, this involves not just slowing deterioration, but actually reversing it. Consider this reality. If you lose merely 1% of muscle mass annually after 50, in 10 years, that equals a 10% reduction. Do you understand what that means in practical terms? It means you may not rise from that chair easily. You may not catch yourself when you stumble. That 10% is not simply a statistic. It represents your stability, your ability to protect yourself, your confidence to live without constant fear. What proves even more significant is that muscle loss does not exclusively affect the physical body. It impacts the mind. As mobility decreases, so does engagement with existence. You move less, participate less, experience less of the world. Gradually, the world sees less of you. This is not how your story should unfold. Before we discuss nutrition strategies, training methods, or sleep optimization, the primary lesson involves awareness. You must recognize the invisible before it becomes visible. You must understand that muscle loss occurs not because you are weak, but because the body follows your decisions. If you offer nothing, it responds with nothing. But if you offer care, even small, consistent care, the body responds with strength, resilience, and vitality. Consume with intention. Move with awareness. Sleep with purpose. Because what you do tonight determines who you become tomorrow. Many individuals believe rest simply means the absence of activity, that when the body sleeps, everything pauses. But this represents a misunderstanding and a costly one. In truth, when you rest your head at night, the real work begins. The body does not stop, it shifts focus. It begins repairing, rebuilding, restoring, especially your muscles. This is why your pre-sleep activities matter more than most realize. There exists a window, a sacred opportunity that opens before bedtime, a window through which the body can either receive the fuel it needs to rebuild or be left struggling with whatever remains from the day. Seniors, this window holds special importance for you because while the body still possesses the ability to repair and regenerate, it does so more slowly. The older the body, the more intentional you must be in supporting it, especially at night when the world quiets and the body turns inward. During these hours between the final meal and deep sleep, your muscles begin their silent conversation with your bloodstream. They search for amino acids, for protein, for building blocks, for the tools they need to repair what was damaged during the day. If they find nothing, if the bloodstream is empty, depleted, or filled with sugar and empty calories, then the muscles receive no assistance. They weaken not dramatically, not with fanfare, but subtly, like a candle burning down with no wax remaining to sustain it. This is why the nighttime window proves critical. You see, your muscles do not grow when you exercise. They grow when you rest, but only if given the opportunity, only if fed with care, only if nourished with wisdom. Most people eat without thinking and rest without preparing. But aging demands more than habits. It demands mindfulness. The days of eating whatever, whenever are finished. Now timing becomes as important as content. Consider this. If you sleep without giving your muscles what they need, you are inviting loss. Not in one night, but slowly, surely, and without apology. The body operates efficiently. If it believes you no longer require strength, it will remove it. That is not punishment. That is adaptation. The question becomes, what message are you sending each night before sleep? Some make the mistake of eating large, heavy meals right before bed. That does not help muscle repair. It overburdens digestion. Others consume snacks filled with sugar or empty carbohydrates, cookies, bread, sweets. This too is a mistake. It may comfort your mind temporarily, but it leaves your muscles starving. What the body needs is simple. Something light, something rich in quality protein, something digestible. A small bowl of Greek yogurt, a handful of nuts with cottage cheese, a warm glass of milk with natural protein powder. Simple things, not flashy, but powerful when done consistently. The idea is not to eat more, but to eat with purpose, to close your day with intention. You do not need a feast, you need fuel, because the moment you fall asleep, your muscles go to work, and their ability to grow stronger depends on what you gave them before you closed your eyes. So tonight, before bed, do not ask what you are in the mood for. Ask what your body knows. It's not to survive, but to thrive. Because the nighttime is not a break, it is a bridge, and what you put on that bridge determines what reaches the other side. Most people understand that protein is important, but very few understand that when you consume it is just as critical as how much. You can eat the perfect diet throughout the day, but if your timing is off, if you do not align your meals with your body's rhythm, you lose the full benefit. Especially as you age, when efficiency declines and your body demands more precision, the timing of your protein intake becomes the difference between maintaining strength or slowly losing it. Your muscles are not always in a state of growth. They cycle between breakdown and repair, catabolism and anabolism. After physical activity or daily movement, even something as simple as a walk, tiny tears form in the muscle fibers. These are not injuries. They are opportunities for growth, for regeneration, for strength. But those opportunities are only seized when your body has the raw material to rebuild. That raw material is protein, more specifically amino acids, the building blocks of muscle tissue. Now imagine this. Your muscles are primed for repair after a long day. You are heading into the most important recovery window, the night. But there is no fuel in your system. No amino acids circulating, no support. What happens? Nothing. Or worse, your body begins to break down existing muscle tissue to supply what it needs. You do not grow, you shrink, and it happens quietly, consistently. Each night without proper nutrition becomes a missed opportunity to preserve and protect your strength. This is why timing matters. When you are younger, your body is forgiving. It can absorb and use protein even with wide gaps in your meals. But in your later years, your muscle sensitivity to protein decreases. What does that mean? It means the same meal that once stimulated growth now has less impact unless it is delivered at the right moment. That moment, especially for seniors, is befiert, or bed. There is something powerful about feeding your body just before it enters repair mode. You are not just eating, you are signaling. You are telling your body, here is what you need. Use it well. Studies show that consuming a moderate amount of high-quality protein, especially one rich in leucine, before sleep significantly improves muscle synthesis overnight. This is not theory. This is fact. Your body continues to respond to your choices even at 70, even at 80, but you have to make the choice. Some people worry about eating late. They have been told it is bad for digestion or it might cause weight gain. But again, the issue is not the clock, it is the content. If you eat processed junk late at night, of course it causes harm. But if you eat a purposeful, protein-rich snack, light and clean, you are doing the opposite. You are refueling, healing, supporting growth, protecting your independence. A few boiled eggs, a scoop of casein protein in water, some almonds with unsweetened yogurt. You do not need large portions. You need quality and timing. You need consistency. And you need to understand that every night you give your body this gift, it thanks you, not in words, but in actions. You wake up steadier, more alert, with less stiffness, more confidence. That is your body's way of saying, I received your message. In the end, discipline is not about restriction. It is about structure. It is about learning when to act and when to rest, when to feed and when to fast. And when it comes to muscle health, feeding your body the right protein at the right time is not just wise. It is essential, because strength is not preserved by chance. It is preserved by timing. If you were building a house, you would not choose weak materials. You would select what is sturdy, reliable, something that can carry weight, endure time, and protect you through the seasons. The same thinking must apply when you build your body, because muscles are not made from wishes. They are built from the materials you provide, and those materials come from amino acids. Inside every bite of quality protein is a language. Your body understands that language. It is made up of amino acids. These are not just nutrients. They are messengers, architects, and workers all in one. And among them, one speaks louder than the rest. Leucine. Leucine acts like a trigger. It signals the muscle to begin the process of building. Without that trigger, you can consume all the protein in the world, but the signal may be too weak. Your body listens, but it does not act. As we age, this signal grows quieter. The body no longer responds as eagerly to small doses of protein like it once did. This is what makes leucine and other essential amino acids so important. They do not just contribute to the rebuilding process, they initiate it. Think of it as turning the key in the ignition. Without the key, the engine does not start. And as time passes, the engine may need more than just a tap on the shoulder. It needs a clear, intentional command. Begin. Where do you find this? Not in sugary snacks or empty foods. Not in most of what lines the shelves of modern convenience stores, but in whole, natural sources. Eggs, dairy, lean meats, fish, and certain legumes. These foods carry the right mix of amino acids, especially leucine, to fuel your recovery. Supplements like whey or casein protein also contain high levels of leucine and can serve as a powerful addition, especially before bed when timing is critical. But the key here is not just knowing what these foods are, it is understanding their role. Because every time you sit down to eat, you are either providing the tools your muscles need or denying them. And denial, over time, is costly. It is costly in strength, it is costly in mobility, and eventually it is costly in freedom. That is the trade you make when you choose ease. Overnourishment, when you confuse being full with being fueled. Some people say, I eat enough, or I have always eaten this way. But here's the truth. The rules change with age. What worked at 30 does not work at 70. The body demands more precision. It needs your attention. It needs your intention. You do not have to become obsessed with nutrients or count every gram, but you do need to be aware of what truly matters and when. When it comes to preserving muscle, essential amino acids, particularly leucine, are no longer optional. They are foundational. The beauty is that this does not require some radical transformation. You are not being asked to climb a mountain. You are being asked to choose wisely, to swap an evening biscuit for a protein-rich yogurt, to reach for eggs instead of cereal, to prioritize foods that give more than they take. With each choice, you are rebuilding something, not just muscle, but resilience, independence, and vitality. Because the muscle you keep is not simply the result of moving more. It is the result of feeding wisely. There is a silent battle happening every day, a battle between discipline and convenience. One leads you to strength, the other to decline. And every time you make a choice, you are taking a step toward one or the other. This is especially true when it comes to how you eat, because what is easy is rarely what is best. And as you age, the gap between what is convenient and what is essential grows wider. Convenience is seductive. It whispers, just grab something quick, a sweet snack before bed, maybe some bread, a cup of tea with sugar, or a leftover piece of cake. You tell yourself, it is just a small bite, or I deserve this. And maybe you do, but your muscles do not care about what is convenient or comforting. They respond only to what helps them grow or forces them to fade. And night after night, these small indulgences become habits, habits become patterns, and patterns become outcomes. The truth is, your muscles are not disappearing because of one missed workout or one bad meal. They are fading because of repetition, the repeated choice of comfort over care. And it is not just about calories. It is about purpose. Your body listens always, and when it receives nothing of value, it begins to take from itself, pulling from the muscles you spent decades building. But there is another way, the path of discipline. And discipline is not about deprivation, it is about alignment. It is about doing what serves you, even when it is not easy, even when no one is watching. Discipline means asking, does this food nourish me? Will this choice support my strength? It means preparing a small bowl of high-quality protein food before bed, even when you are tired. It means learning to recognize when you are feeding your cravings rather than feeding your body. Discipline is not loud. It does not shout. It simply shows up, quietly, consistently, and in time, it rewrites your future. Most people make the mistake of thinking discipline is rigid, but in reality, discipline is freedom. When you live with discipline, you do not have to worry about losing your balance. You do not have to fear getting up from a chair or walking long distances. You have earned the strength to move through life with confidence. That is the reward of discipline, and that is what convenience can never give you. So when you stand in front of the refrigerator late at night, when you feel the urge to snack on something sweet, stop and ask yourself, am I building myself or am I breaking myself down? Am I acting from awareness or from habit? This is not about guilt. It is about clarity, about remembering that every small action is a vote for who you want to become. Every evening, you cast that vote, not with your words, but with your plate. And in the 13th stage of life, when the stakes are higher and the room for error is smaller, your ability to choose discipline becomes the foundation of your health. Strength does not come from what is easy. It comes from what is necessary. It comes from the courage to delay gratification in service of something greater. Your independence, your vitality, your longevity. Because the body you live in tomorrow is built by the discipline you practice tonight. Longevity is not the product of luck. It is the reward of repetition. Small intentional acts performed every single day. Many look for one grand solution, a miracle supplement, a perfect routine, a magic food. But that is not how strength is built. That is not how health is protected. The truth is far simpler and far more demanding. Your future is shaped by what you consistently do, not occasionally wish for. Every evening is a chance to either build the body you want to carry into tomorrow or slowly watch it weaken. And in this stage of life, the difference between those two paths is not found in hours of training or complex diets. It is found in 10 quiet minutes of care before you sleep. Just 10 minutes, but they must be deliberate. They must be sacred. This time is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. It is about understanding that at the end of each day, when the noise has faded and the tasks are done, there remains one final responsibility: to feed the body what it needs to repair, restore, and grow stronger. Not because you are chasing youth, but because you are honoring life. Think of your body like a tree. The older it gets, the deeper the roots must go to stand firm. The branches may weather, the bark may fade, but the strength lies within, and that strength must be sustained. The body does not ask for perfection, it asks for consistency, and every consistent act, no matter how small, is a declaration. I will not surrender to decay. I will not fade without a fight. When you take the time to prepare a small protein-rich snack before bed, when you choose foods that fuel instead of foods that numb, when you practice discipline not as punishment but as care, you are planting seeds for the future. You may not see the results in a day or even in a week. But over time, the body listens, it adjusts, it strengthens, it responds. Longevity is not just about living long, it is about living well, being able to walk without pain, to move without fear, to rise from a chair without assistance, to breathe deeply and sleep peacefully. These are the real victories. And they are not bought. They are earned, not with money, but with attention. Not with noise, but with presence. And presence is what most people lack. They move through their day in a haze, eating mindlessly, rushing through meals, collapsing into sleep. But presence changes everything. When you slow down and act with intention, even for just 10 minutes, you step into your power. You reclaim your role as guardian of your own body,